Hello, everyone. My name is GameSpec CSGO. This is a new YouTube channel where I'm basically hoping to um, look at new CSGO news, and based on that, I will make some opinions. This is not 100% facts, by the way. This is some facts and then my opinions around it. Um, so today, I just basically want to talk about one topic, which is Tarik and Pita leaving CLG. So a few hours ago, um, Tarik announced that he will be stepping off the active CLG roster. He'll be in sort of limbo until early 2017. He won't be doing anything, according to his tweet. And you can see the tweet on the HLTV post that I linked below. On top of that, Peter announced that he will also be leaving CLG. He said that he felt homesick, so it doesn't look like he's going to return back to coaching in CLG. And his tweet is in the description below as well. So, what does this mean for Peter, first of all? Well, I think we all saw Peter's change coming. He never really looked like that strong firepower player that they wanted to replace Fugly with. Now, if I had to choose between Fugly and Peter, I would have always chosen Fugly, and keeping Peter as a coach. Now, Peter lacks a lot of firepower, but he has actually a decent amount of in-game skill. So if they really wanted, he could have spent a lot of time to build up that in-game raw skill, because it's easier to get raw skill than it is to actually learn in-game technique, in my opinion. I think that Peter is actually a direct opposite of Hazed, because I see that Hazed, whenever I watch him at least, always seems to be making really poor decisions in his gameplay. Um, I see 3v3 situations or 3v2s favoring CLG suddenly go to 2v2s and 2v3s because Hazed needed to push that guy in the smoke, or he just really wanted to throw that pop flash and it failed, but he ran in anyways. His plays are actually mentally retarded, but he's a pretty decent aimer, and that's where Peter actually loses to Hazed, because although I believe that if Hazed and Peter played the same number of games for CLG, Hazed would lose more rounds for CLG by making stupid plays. He will also win more rounds for CLG because he has the talent to make those great plays. A replacement for Peter would have to be someone who could in-game lead and have a little bit more firepower than Peter, because Peter doesn't look like he's going to go back to a coach, and unless they want to sign another coach, they're going to need a new IGL. And I think the two options they have are Arya and Adren. Now, Adren was recently removed from the Liquid lineup, and he's actually a pretty decent player if you think about it. He has the experience, he has played in a top-level team, and he has an okay amount of firepower, He's no Ocean, he's not amazing, but he can stand up there. Arya, I think, sometimes has more firepower than Adren, and sometimes has a lot less. I would think Arya is the less likely candidate for CLG, though. Arya struggles to perform consistently at a mid-tier level, unlike Adren, who always performs poorly on a top-tier level. So, at least it's consistency. But in an actual sense, Arya is less experienced than Adren, and Adren has a better reputation as an in-game leader. So I would say that Adren is probably the most likely replacement. Now, as for Pita, I could see Pita moving back to EU and coaching. Fugly put a glowing tweet out, basically praising Pita for his skill in in-game leading, and that could actually go a long way. If he stayed in NA, which seems unlikely because he made that whole huff about his family, I could see him coaching a mid-tier team like Splice or maybe even Echo Fox or something, and actually bring them pretty high up. So that's why I can see Peter. I honestly think he still has a great future ahead of him, but I don't think it's as a CSGO player. I think it's as a coach. As for Tarik, now that is the biggest downgrade for CLG ever. Because out of the 5 players that they could have removed, that could have left, Tarik has, in my opinion, he's one of the most decent players out there. He is, he's normally consistently around the top 10, and he's a decent hybrid player, which he's no Olafmeister. He's not even a Stewie 2K, but he can compete with the AWP against some decent AWPers, and more importantly, he can actually play with an impact as a rifler and as an AWPer. Now, I would say that Tarik is not being used well in CLG. He doesn't deserve to be in a squad like CLG, because CLG is starting to move towards being a tier 2 level. You know, you've got Hayes, who consistently performs like a pug god. You've got Cutler, who, well, he's had some sort of drop off and he hasn't come back. And you've got Kusta, who can rock tier 2 players, but not really. Like, just shits himself in tier 1 teams. So, Tarik leaving, I think, was the best decision for Tarik, worst decision for CLG. Because before, the only reason CLG went in contention, in my opinion, is because Tarik and JDM were consistently performing, and every once in a while, Cutler or Hazed or Kusta would go, yeah, okay, I'll get well, no, Kusta, sorry. A Fugly would go, yeah, okay, I'll get some frags too, you know? Where I could see Tarik going, there's tons of options. He says he's only coming back 2017. I can see him coming back a lot earlier. If I'm going to be completely honest with you, he would probably go to Splice because they have empty spots. They'll try and make that squad better. I don't want him to go there because it's basically the same thing. Instead, this time it's him and Davey carrying, right? With Ario, Jason R, and whoever they choose is going, yeah, okay, I'll help. I want him to go to Echo Fox because now there's no evidence saying that Tarik wants to go to Echo Fox. There's no evidence saying Echo Fox wants him. But Echo Fox has built such a great lineup by picking players from tier 1 teams who have either left their positions or have been removed. Shazam got kicked pretty much. Freakazoid left. Roka they bought out, and Roka was going nowhere in complexity, right? I think Tarik's that final hurdle. Minus Rix plus Tarik, this on paper would be a consistent tier 1 team, and that's where I want to see Tarik. And if they pick up Pita as their coach, again, very unlikely because Pita seems to want to go back to EU. But if they do, even better, you know? CLG are now in a rut, so. Because that means they need to replace Tarik, and right now, there's no player who's decent enough at fragging who probably want to go to CLG. The uncontracted players, as in players who are not in the lineup right now, are Professor Chaos, Justin, Lagia. These are only from top tier teams, and in terms of lower tier teams, you've got Desi. If you want a direct replacement of the experience of Tarik, you want Desi. He has played for iBuy Power, and he has played in LANs. However, he's also he doesn't seem like a good team player, you know? So many teams don't want him, so that has to be a problem. Now, on top of that, Justin actually has better performances in recent times. He's played decently in his stint in Splice. He played decently in his stint in NRG. Like, I wouldn't have dropped him from NRG, but he has been dropped. If I had to pick a replacement for Tarik, and again, if I had to pick a replacement for Tarik, I would pick Peter. Justin. Alright, so my CLG squad would look like Justin, Kusta, Adren, Hayes, Color. Alright? But honestly, this is all speculations. What I honestly can see, though, is that CLG, this is going to be a huge period of readjustment. This is a big downgrade for them. And Tarik, this is a huge career move, and I think it's a step in the right direction. Pita, it really, I don't think he's going to go back to a player role. I think that this was an okay move for him, but I think that he can easily coach a much better team. Now, really, do you have any suggestions? Do you have players that I might have missed out? I know there's lots of international options, but I really didn't want to touch on those because they're quite unlikely, but possible. So if you want to talk about one, just let me know. I will read every single comment, uh, mainly because I'm only expecting like one comment, so it's not really a huge task. Uh, but again, yeah, just drop me suggestions of what I missed out on this video, what you want me to talk about next, or literally anything, because I'm literally starting up today, and I want all the help I can get. So that's pretty much it from me today. I'll try to make the quality of my videos better and maybe even longer. Again, it's all up to your suggestions, but I would love to see you in the next video. Thank you, and goodbye.